possible now. But the question I'm sure you're wondering is, where are we going to play? What's the map? And we're going to go ahead and show you in rapid fire fashion. We will be playing on Consulate. Look at that.
I always miss my hand cue. I should put like a mark on the desk.
This is
so I know where it's going to be.
Over there.
So we're going to be playing on Consulate. Always an exciting match to see.
Yes.
Don't have the greatest, I guess, experience with Team One to know exactly where their strongest maps are and aren't. So
treat it as a learning experience.
But I also don't, in my brain, have a ton of information on Liquid playing Consulate. So this could end up being a pretty just even event, just because of the fact that they don't always maybe play it. But what do you think? Unsurprisingly,
not crazy.
I don't know the last time that we've seen Liquid lose more than 1 or 2 community votes in a given season. They're almost always on top.
They have a lot of fans. I mean, this is one of, I think we can safely say, the most popular team in Latin America. I think that's fair. Like,
probably
in terms of
one
pure
of the 3 most popular teams in Pro League, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, if you look at it objectively, I mean, you got Brazil or Latin America, you know, the biggest single country in terms of sheer numbers, in terms of like fans and whatnot, and then Liquid is probably the #1 takeaway there. If you're talking about, again, in terms of numbers and sheer fans.
Yeah, I think it's indisputable that Liquid is the biggest team in Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah, again, in terms of fans. So, yeah, they don't lose community votes. It's kind of the point we were just trying to get there.
But that same thing doesn't go over to games. They do lose games. They lost to FaZe in a 7-5 thriller on Wednesday, and it was the first time that FaZe has defeated them in an official match in something like almost 2 years. I remember seeing that statistic floating around online.
Because it was supposed to be that Liquid were the FaZe slayers, you know, and then FaZe do well against most other people, but Liquid, and it's a weird kind of matchup. Like certain matchups just they go one way every time. Like e.g.
Reciprocity.
Yeah.
And Dark Zero and amateur teams.
Oh.
You're not expecting to hear that one on Latin America.
For those of you who don't understand that, we'll take a quick aside here and explain. Yeah, Dark Zero have been struggling against some of the some amateur teams recently. Well, not amateur, all of them, but they've been having some interesting kind of upset losses. So it's just something going on.
That's not true.
Now.
Dark Zero also lost to an amateur team in the USN qualifiers like last week or something like that as well, which was a bit of a surprise. But we're not talking about North American Pro League because we're watching Latin America Pro League, and in my heart, the match of the day, Team Liquid versus Team One on Consulate.
Me too.
This is going to be a thriller, I would imagine. Team One starting on defense, and they're going to be on a Thermite. Not really much of a surprise there. You know how effective Thermite can be on at least 2 of the 3 most played sites here, and well, most teams are going to bring him as well when they're attacking the lobby.
He's really going to help when your defending basement is getting rid of that Thermite, because then you just don't have to worry as much about the garage wall, which allows you to play other angles more dynamically, and the vertical destruction is going to happen in Piano is less relevant. Nomad going to be the answer back here from Team Liquid, and I got to say, if you're expecting aggression, banning out the Nomad, or expecting to be aggressive rather, banning out the Nomad is helpful. So Team Liquid want to get a little bit more aggro here. Either that, or they're specifically afraid of something they know that Team One is capable of doing with that Nomad, or option C, they just don't like playing against Nomad. Echo, the next ban, and that's, again, a very typical one, especially for Latin America. We always say it's Mira in Europe, Maestro in NA, and Echo in LATAM. Those are your most popular bans, over the last season. Mira here as the final ban, so we're getting 2 of the top 3 on the defense gotten rid of.
Mira makes a lot of sense, though. We will also see Mira go unbanned on Consulate, and not a lot of teams play her.
She can be useful, but
I think there's a couple ways that she's useful. When you look at the lobby, for example, you can put some Mira setups inside of the bathroom. You can do the same thing when you're defending garage, make them waste time and utility on that main floor. Upstairs, it might be rare, but you can see the odd Mira play inside of admin or open area up top, rather. And then you can play inside of the break room over by copier. Or you can even put a Mira window on connector, or you can put Mira windows over on bathroom. There's so many different places that you can utilize her, and of course she's a very strong operator in almost every single sense of the word.
She certainly is.
Now, with the Thermite being banned out by Team One, it does not surprise me at all that their very first defense is going to come downstairs on the garage, because of course Thermite has a dramatic impact, being able to open up usually panels 1 and 3 on the garage. Now the fact that you have to run either a Maverick or a Hibana or both, if you really wanted to, every single round, with Team Liquid having a Hibana that makes a Garage take tougher, it's still definitely doable, but a lot of times teams will focus more on taking control of yellow stairs, spiral stairs, or even just go straight for a server push altogether.
We'll find out exactly what Liquid has in mind, but something that's interesting is that gridlock coming out, and we've talked about this already. Every time she gets brought up, it's the same thing as Mozzie. Very, very specific operator, though potent in what she does. So, you know, powerful in what she does, and able to lock down whole staircases is usually where you see those gridlock being placed, is actually on staircases, specifically to cut off rotations, or if nothing else, give sound cues to the attackers when the rotation does come out. Now, Hibana is the primary hard destructor since Thermite is banned. Maverick can be somewhat useful, but not as in the case of Consulate. So she'll be brought every round. That's a huge upset there, or sorry, rather mistake made by Sexy Cake just now. He did not fully adjust his crosshair, and you're going to lose one line on that crouch hole, but it still should be functional.
Yeah, you're able to get in there, depending on if it was down far enough. I'm surprised that the KE of Falls didn't bother to utilize the Electric Claw in his disposal. He's also running the AUG too, which means he's going to have to engage at closer range than running the DMR, aka the shotgun that has the ACOG on it. So Sexy Cake does his job quite well, and this Kaid's actually in quite a bit of trouble here as he's playing around the car. He's going to take quite a bit of damage. He still exists for the time being.
Yeah, Team 1 being very aggressive on this hold, and I mean, that's fair enough. Considering they're playing against a Hibana, this is why they banned the Thermite, so they could get in these aggressive positions. However, it's about to be, oh no, perfect time for the adjustment there from the Kaid. Sexy Cake misses the shot, and that's some great timing for Team 1. But speaking of time, there's still a lot for Team Liquid to make this execution work, and they are finally going to down that Kaid on the black car. Falls, and there you go. One-man advantage for Team Liquid.
I don't know what Falls was doing there, really. In all reality, you know, usually we see a lot of Kaids play on that blue tarp all the way back by Pillar, or maybe even over by the rotate, and very lucky that Sexy Cake was looking the other way, because Team 1 could have lost a second body on just maybe a bit too loose of a push from one side of the site to the other. You have to make that cross. Okay, you've got a minute left to go. Team 1 have to do this. Great patience from Paulu's. Reflexes are going to be tested by the Legion. Look at another, but he might be collapsed upon now as he's stuck on yellow stairs and doesn't really have much of a way to retreat.
Well, he's failed 3 tests in a row, and oh, look at that. Skadinya going to open up with 2 frags for Team 1. That's a good set for him, playing by the yellow stairs, and he could possibly get a third if he peeks the correct angle here in Garage, but he doesn't seem to know that. C4 comes out and misses from the Valkyrie, but Ukid's going to get one for himself, and looks like the down from Reduct inside of Kitchen is going to be out, and there you go. Look at the final kill. Team 1 will take the round. Liquid trying to push in through that Garage, just not making it happen.
Liquid got locked down really on yellow stairs too. There was no follow through with Liquid after they opened up the Garage, and a big part of that just comes down to that Thermite ban. With the XKros, even if Sexy Cake had been able to get that extra row of the XKros to open up a larger hole, it wouldn't have made that big of a difference. The problem with using an operator like Maverick or Hibana on the Garage door is that you don't take away as much of the defense of those reinforcements as you would with the Thermite. So, because of this, where does Liquid go? Well, they have to control yellow stairs. This is what we said before the round even started. A lot of times when you have a Maverick or a Hibana as your main hard breacher, Maverick not usually being the main hard breacher, but usually working in tandem with a Hibana or a Thermite, what you're going to see from teams is some kind of smoke execute, some kind of push from spiral stairs, or maybe a push over from the cafeteria downstairs. You cannot only push from one direction, and for Liquid it was a bit too unidirectional. And what ends up happening is Team 1 doesn't need to hold too many angles. If you're going to come down the yellow stairs or try to enter through Garage, there's only really 2 ways that you can push in, and for Team 1, that makes it a lot easier for them to be able to hold Team Liquid at bay. Despite the fact that Liquid were able to get that early kill onto the Kaid, it didn't really snowball much from there, and Liquid conceded too much time and too much of the map, allowing Team 1 to capitalize off of it. So with that, Team 1 will now move upstairs to what we see as usually the 1A, 1B of Consulate, though this is typically the most played site that we see out of teams, the console office.
Yeah, sorry, quick correction, because I actually misspoke earlier. I said Liquid is supposed to be the face players. I meant that the other way around. Whoops.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We forgive you.
Anyway, here in this match, 60K going to be cutting off the Visa rotation.
Just a bit too off point there for just a second. And for 2 rounds in a row now, Liquid have had their reflexes tested. We saw Palu do the same thing on yellow stairs, and he's now going to be on this upside down rappel, just tussling with open area, trying to figure out if it's safe entry. A lot of teams forego holding the admin area up top, and because they don't have this open area / admin area hold at all, a lot of teams can just walk right in. And it's not really the same kind of map control that you need, right? You expect to be able to take control and move on towards Copier and then push over towards the side of Long Desk. You'd imagine that the Hibana will be tasked with taking the 1 panel in Long Desk, and there's actually 2 of them reinforced for the time being. A lot of teams will smoke that off so that you can be quite successful in getting those reinforcements. That's going to rest on the shoulders of the Capitao, as he's the only member of Team Liquid that's going to have smokes at his disposal.
Well, those smokes are going to be so potent because they can fly past the ADSs from the Jaeger. But they're still going to be very important, which means he can't play aggressive. But, of course, Moringa's going to know that. He's going to play smart because of that. And Liquid are just setting up for the eventual execute. Looks like they're going to try and use the grenade method to deal with the player inside of A. That's Falls on the mute. He's contesting the upside down rappel, and he'll win the fight against Moringa. That's a beautiful shot. 2 firebolts down, and now no smokes for Team Liquid. That is going to make this attack into sight very desperate, to be sure. Jaeger trying to push up those Visa stairs, a dangerous flank, but it seems like he's going to get away with it. And no, Palu almost giving away that kill. But it looks like Liquid will be shut down. So Team Liquid's still in this, though they've lost a lot of their most valuable utility.
And now Sexy Cake has completely fallen off of admin. He's back down, heading over towards main lobby. And where is he going to go? Well, he's going to go out into the balcony, overlooking that A bomb site. And a big part of this is that you know you can't successfully get the wall because there's no smoke coverage. Those XKROs only take 1 shot apiece to be able to get rid of them. And now you'll have Sexy Cake go on upside down rappel, but nobody's been able to tussle with Falls correctly so far. PSK finds Reduct, so 1 member of Team 1 will go down in addition to Lukid. Skadinia also very low, and it'll put a lot of pressure on the mute inside of this projector area. Sexy Cake will have to vault on in as he knows that the timer is running out. He's got utility to dump in. Stun grenades going easily. There's no ADS to stop them. Rise takes out Palu, and Sexy Cake goes for broke, but Falls is already down. So Sexy Cake will have to go for the plan as PSK will try to do the coverage onto the Maestro. Where is Rise to stop this as the timer hits 0? Down goes the smoke. Skadinia is so low, he'll try to creep on over with Diffuser down. This is going to be a very unenviable task as Sexy Cake lies prone. Just a pixel angle emerging. It'll have to be 1 shot from Sexy Cake to take out the Maestro, given the HP that he's at. Sexy Cake weathering the storm for the time being, holding tight on that bomb chassis. It's great patience for both of them. And Skadinia knows that he has to push up right into the waiting arms of Sexy Cake and Liquid. Despite what looked to be a bad start, they right the ship, and it's the opposite story of round number 1. Things go bad at the start, but you end up figuring it out, and Liquid will tie things up.
Okay, so to be honest with you guys, that was a Team 1 round. The problem, and what cost them the round, is that they all tried to rotate across long desk by big desk, while PSK was holding the long desk rotation, and they all got absolutely destroyed by PSK. I mean, that's the story right there, ladies and gentlemen. There's not really anything else to it. PSK played a good round by long desk, and he cut off rotation long enough to allow for Team 1 to panic, lose control of the situation, and force themselves to rotate, get cut down in the process. And, well, good clutch by Team Liquid, expecting that panic from Team 1 and waiting for it. And they really, and by they, I mean Team Liquid, should not have been able to take that round. And that falls on the shoulders of Team 1, though it was a valiant effort, and it looked like they would have had it. So yeah, good execution from Team Liquid. Some changes on how that defense is handled are in line for Team 1. They're going to go to a different site instead of trying to metaphorically bash their heads against the top floor over and over again. It'll be the Teller's Archives defense. It's a little bit of a news site. For those of you who are not familiar, this was introduced relatively recently, late in the Consulate lifespan, and not a lot of teams incorporate this into their strategy, though it is starting to be more popular.
We say recently, it's been about a year at this point, and I still think that's quite recent, given the lifespan of the map, right?
Relatively recent.
It's some changes to Consulate coming out at that same time, and Archives Tellers has not really found itself in the spotlight when it comes to this map. It's often thrown in as a quirky third option, in lieu of a team running with lobby, but there's always great debate over how to attack this and what to do best. The problem is that once you lose control of that site, your retake often comes from the stairs, and you know how easy it is to hold down those stairs as either an attacker or a defender.
Yeah, I mean, Visa stairs are just a straight line, man. And it's one angle. You cut it off, and it's locked down. So it can make things complicated there, but we've seen a lot of teams try to come up with other solutions. So playing Archives with C4, then you can deny Tellers from below. It's fully self-destructible, but that's not always going to fix the problem, given the fact that there are so many desks that can protect you from that inside of Tellers. So it's complicated. It's certainly a puzzle.
Now, trying to waste as much time as you can as Team 1, this Mozzie play from Rise is going to basically stop all the drones from being able to make their way through. But it appears that 2 of them have been droned out. Oh no! Palu looks the wrong way! And it appeared that Rise had been spotted, but there might have been a Mozzie pest in the way, and because of this, that is a kill for Team 1 coming onto the information gatherer of IQ, and if Ness can't hit his shots here, he's got 2 angry bodies from Team 1 that could make this 2 in a row.
I can almost hear Palu saying, why is he playing there? That was a really odd position for Rise to be in, but I agree with you. It was probably he was playing off of his pest, knowing he can't be droned, and he got a free kill from it, so good play to him. There you go, Reduct going to take down Nesk, and it's Team 1 putting themselves up 2 men early. What an angle through the server rack there. How do you challenge that? It's a really tough one if you're Team Liquid. It cuts off a lot of the rotation for Team Liquid as they try to aggress on the site.
And almost all of Liquid appear to have entered through the garage. There's no real focus outside of this one lone push. Look at this. Every member of Liquid were somewhere around the cafeteria area when this fighting ensued. No pressure from Visa upstairs. No pressure from admin area. And because of this, you make it a great challenge to just push on in, but down goes Sexy Cake. PSK on the flank looking, but he'll lose the fight as Lukin picks up 2 very big kills. That'll leave Moringa in sight all alone, but there's a pulse underneath, and you can see the C4 go up, and it's an explosive end. Moringa being dealt the hand that he had, and well, unfortunately, not good cards at all. Team 1 will answer back, and they'll regain the lead.
Okay, so some really solid patience from Team 1. I mean, okay, let's run through these rounds. We only got 3 so far. Let's run through these rounds really basically. Round number 1, Team 1, excellent patience. They didn't give away any free picks. The fact that there's no thermite makes the garage attack, the garage heavy attack that Team Liquid tries to bring out, fail, because they just can't get enough control to establish picks to get a plant down. Round number 2, Team 1, they set themselves up really well, but Team Liquid are able to take out the player inside of meeting, and then PSK holds down the rotation, and then a little bit of impatience, and I'd say inexperience on the side of Team 1 ends up costing them around because they rotate into PSK and give away too many kills for free, allowing Team Liquid to plant. Round number 3, that patience that we saw in round 1 reintroduces itself on the side of Team 1 and allows them to win yet another well-executed round. So, okay, we're seeing a little bit of inconsistency on the side of Team 1. However, when they shine, boy, do they. The way that Team 1 are setting themselves up, as long as they maintain their composure, it's perfect for them. It's going very well, and Team Liquid are certainly struggling. I liked the adaptation mid-round there from Team Liquid. They decided to rotate up the Visa stairs. They saw an opportunity to try and go for Tellers. However, they did not have enough information. And the fact that the Valkyrie was on the staircase, it was at Lukid, managed to shut down that rotation, ended up costing Liquid the round because they didn't check Visa stairs, and that's on them. But overall, yes, what we're seeing from Team 1, I really like it. And Liquid are certainly struggling with the way that Team 1 are playing.
I mean, especially when you've got Nesk using this sledge roll. If there's nobody from Team 1, playing upstairs, but there is on this round in particular as Reduct jumps right out and silences PSK. That's some information that will be very useful for the Valkyrie. Looks like she might have stayed inside of Visa, but will now head for the hills downstairs. You've still got an IQ, so not all hope is lost, but you've lost the 3 EMPs of the Thatcher, and this is going to be particularly unhelpful, especially knowing that you've got a mute on the board. The EMP is a great tool to be able to take out those mute jammers, but with Palu having the, I suppose, the scanner at his disposal, oftentimes he'll have to put himself in danger in order to get that. Sexy Cake will battle back, taking out the Valkyrie, who just was a bit too agitated and couldn't sit still. Team's back at 4v4. Sexy Cake in particular has been very integral for Liquid to be able to close those gaps early, and because of this, he's always giving his team a fighting chance.
Yeah, Sexy Cake has been playing a lot of support roles. He's been on support for a while now, but when he initially changed, it seemed like he had stopped being as relevant in these rounds as we had seen in the past. Now it just definitely seems like he's coming to his own on that position.
I really wish we could have seen what just happened there, because you had Sexy Cake try to take the wall out behind Long Desk. You heard a frag grenade getting prepped. There was going to be an awful lot of action occurring, and we don't know exactly what happened. A bit of a frustration, just because clearly there's something that was going on where the XK stopped. It would appear so, because Sexy Cake has completely fallen off, as Palu almost loses a fight to Rise on the main stairs. He can continue to push on up. Lucan has moved out, though, and he'll take down what little was left of Nesk. Both Palu and Sexy Cake are very, very low, and Palu will have to go for an anticipatory pre-fire, as Moringa is struggling to get up onto the balcony. So Liquid extremely spread out for the time being. This is going to be a lobby take, right? So you need to be able to clear out that second floor. I don't know if it's been done quite successfully. It doesn't appear that there's a body playing in Projector. Lucan is still up top. He's not too far off. You've also got Falls down inside of Tellers. Sexy Cake walks right in. There's zero coverage as Palu takes out Falls, and now it'll be all up to the Maestro of Skadino. Lucan picks up kill number 2, but the diffuser goes down quite successfully, and nobody seems to be aware of the fact that Liquid have gotten away like robber barons. And Skadino looks the wrong way. Moringa is still primed by the bomb chassis, and even though the pings will be helpful, it'll all come down to Lucan. He'll need a 4K at this point. Takes out Sexy Cake, he'll gun him down, and it's a battle of the full HP operators. Both Capitao as well as Jaeger are now in a standoff, but Capitao's going to continue to get marked, and he knew that. He was just waiting patiently for Lucan to make his way down the bottom of the stairs, and through the double doorway, his advance will be shut down. Liquid keeping very even pace here, as it's a 2-2 ball game, as we're now just over halfway through the very first defense for Team 1.
That's exactly how Moringa should have played it. A lot of players in that situation are just going to get really passive. You know, I've got the bomb, the diffuser down. I should play and hold passive angles and wait for my opponent to come to me. I know where he is. Let's just sit and wait. But Moringa decided to play that really aggressively, play, you know, dynamic on his cover, move around, keep his head hitbox mobile. Because he knows that's what's going to allow him to win the round out. If he had allowed the Jaeger to come off the angle and challenge him directly, it gets risky. So very well played to Moringa in that post. You know, even some more inexperienced players probably would have tried to run outside front door. So yeah, you just got to give him kudos for that. Now, we're going to go to the basement. This is the site that looked the most promising for Team 1 so far, and it was their very first bomb site defended. They did win it with flying colors. They could have gone here, I believe, last round, but they decided not to.
The rounds that Liquid have won have come off of good calls in the mid-round to rotate on them. When you look at Console Office, the change that they made after they got some early pressure, even though they lost 2 bodies, I think they lost both Nesk as well as Moringa very early, and then they decided to maneuver on over, you know, then they just locked out an isolated connector. It was a good rotate. The round that just happened, they failed to take control of Projector above. They posted Moringa up on the balcony. They got one big pick when somebody on Team 1 got a little too restless, and then what happened? The call comes out, hey, there's very little coverage inside of the actual lobby itself. Let's move on over. So Sexy Cake rappels down on his own and just walks right in, and there really isn't anybody to stop him. The mid-round calls from Liquid have been exceptional. For Team 1, they have to be better at anticipating the change from Liquid, because when Liquid gives them the round, in essence, Team 1, don't lose it. They don't throw it away. And Liquid have been a bit too unidirectional was the word I used to describe the very first garage take. Almost everybody from Liquid tended to stick to yellow stairs. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't waltz in through the garage. They were never able to alleviate garage pressure or get control of the back of garage. And because of this, what happens? Well, they don't really have a very successful entry. The very same thing happened on the Archives Tellers take. And it was that Liquid all entered through the garage and then couldn't really do much outside of that. We'll see this time if Liquid are able to make a mid-round adaptation, if they realize that maybe the garage isn't working out and we need to dispatch somebody upstairs to piano. Last time around, Team 1 held Piano very aggressively. You need to be able to flush him out. You've got a sledge on the board. He needs to make his home inside of Piano in order to try to put the pressure on the garage so that somebody can walk in and get this plant off. And last but not least, Moringa cannot die early. You are going to need those smokes for what Team 1 is bringing.
Oh. Team 1 on a heavy roam this round. They've got control of Piano, Visa, and it looks like Liquid are reading into it. They're going to take down False, and now they have almost complete site control. There's the second kill on the entry. Liquid with a beautiful call, and now the rest of Team 1 have to start racing back to site. But it's all effectively over at this point. The odds of a successful retake are very low. You can see Liquid trying to retake into Kitchen, and he'll be cut down by Nesk. Why? No information. What is he to do? You can see Nesk get a second one onto Reduct, and it probably should have been a refrag there for Team 1, but not so because you're playing against Nesk. Rise now doing his best to get a free kill or two maybe from the drop down, but he's been spotted out, and now he's trapped, trying to escape his own cage that he created around himself. He'll finally shut down Nesk, but what does it really matter in this scenario? PSK, the final kill, and Liquid, a beautiful call to simply say, hey, there's two anchors. Let's push in and take the site. There's nothing else to it.
So I had said you have to take control of that second floor because you struggled to actually grab control of the site. The very back of Garage, that's behind the white van and behind pillars, was something that eluded Liquid their entire round that they first went on to Garage, which was all the way back in round number 1. What happened was that Team 1, I think, felt very confident in this and expected Liquid to put more of an emphasis on that first floor. And because of this, Liquid stacked up, or Team 1 stacked up a lot of utility upstairs, the castle barricades, the drop-down hatches, the reinforcements, and they had 3 bodies in position where nobody was covering the front of that garage. The only information that you had at your disposal was through a Valkyrie. You didn't have a Maestro at that point, as he wasn't played by Team 1, and Liquid gathered the information they needed. They took out the mute jammers, and because they had freer access to get that information, they said, hey, if we can dislodge one member of Team 1, the garage is ours.
Yeah.
Let's just take it. So Team 1, expecting that first floor presence, just as we did, ended up being their downfall because Liquid read into it perfectly and then adapted and made that push to perfectly thwart Team 1. And we know that the garage site is almost impossible to retake if you're at a disadvantage. It's especially true when there's still 5 attackers remaining.
And it's also one of the worst post-plant. If we're talking about retaking post-plant, it gets to be impossible. You're looking at it just like thinking to yourself, no, can't do that.
The attackers just flee all the way to the driveway at the top. They'll play around the banisters. They'll play around the railings. They have ACOGs at their disposal that most defenders won't.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some of the most insane retakes happen on that site because of that. If a defensive team is able to make that retake happen, it's just unbelievably impressive. So, yeah, no, the round was over effectively as soon as Team 1 lost those 2 anchors. And that's the thing. You could see the way that Team 1 set up their anchors was very aware of the problem that was their light defense on the garage. However, they might have been aware it doesn't matter because holding as tight as they could onto the garage didn't work with those 2 players. And yeah, because of that, Team 1, they're going to keep their site selection moving, and they're going to go to the top floor. Probably a sensible decision here, given how poorly that last round went. But I'm sure that they have other strategies they can bring out on that basement. However, this is their last defense on the first half. So, and there's no OT, so it's the last defense total for Team 1.
So far, this is indeed shaping up to be as close as we thought it was going to be. Liquid have an opportunity to break this one open.
Yep. Oh, and I mean, we have to say, right, that it's so impressive that Team 1 can come out swinging like this. It really is.
Of course.
Yeah, when you look at, I mean, this is Team Liquid. You know, putting Team Liquid in a bad spot, like taking out Moringa early in the round, and that's, oh no, that's Capitao.
Again.
Capitao is your most integral operator by far and away on this site, without a shadow of a doubt. He does so many things. He deals with the player inside a meeting hall, and he cuts off the rotation in connector, and by long desk, allowing you to take meeting hall and go for a plant.
Let's not forget, though, that it was Liquid who were able to bail themselves out of this position from before. As only takes one and expects the Maestro to pop on up, so they'll trade one off. Reduct is down and say goodbye to the Valkyrie. Waiting to see if there's going to be a successful push onto these reinforcements from the Hibana, but for the time being, she's just opened up one of the walls looking in towards the meeting hall. frag grenade will drop the shield and also look to possibly get the Evil Eye. So Nesk staying alive a lot longer than the last time Liquid took an opportunity onto the site, but oh no, you're losing the X-Karos. From where? That's utility lost for the hard breach.
Yeah, that's pretty substantial. I mean, it's always expected that you're going to put those X-Karos on that wall, and that's why Liquid is playing by this spiral staircase, so he can deny that. Sees one inside of Piano. That's a pretty huge call-out, and he just barely got it. Falls is going to take down Ness because of that call-out, so great job on the teamwork from Team 1 just now.
And Falls had dropped because the hatch was open inside of Meeting Hall. So you lose Nesk and Marina, but this was the time that Liquid were able to bring it back together, and it all came down to that mid-round call. Though Sexy Cake is flashed for the time being, Liquid do appear to be all close to one another. They only have 10 seconds left in this round, and you'll see if they can do anything with it. Skadenia picks up 2 big kills. He's mowing everybody down. 3 for Skadenia. Everybody fighting themselves in front of that Maestro, and, well, it's a beautiful symphony to end the round and tie it up for Team 1, as both teams will now switch sides, and they're keeping pace with one of the best teams in all of Latin America and all of the world in Team Liquid. Team 1, what a start to this season.
Yeah, geez. First half, nice and even. And on Consulate, this is a very balanced map when it comes to attacker defender sided. So that's good to see if you're both teams. I mean, comfortably anyone's match still. And this is right now shaping up to be a draw based on what we saw from that first half. However, it's going to come down to, does Team 1 have weaknesses on attack, certain ones that they didn't have on defense? It is harder, generally speaking, in Siege to conduct a well-orchestrated attack, especially for less experienced teams. So, Liquid now going to be going to defense, and they will be starting on the top floor, which is actually a pretty common starting location for most teams. I mean, you really can't go wrong on Consulate, to be honest. Though I'm sure it's expected that you would go to the basement first, given the fact that Team 1 banned out the Thermite. However, Liquid are not going to allow themselves to play into Team 1's game, and that's probably why they went upstairs. Now, Capitao, he got picked off on the side of Liquid, I believe both rounds where Team 1 went up to the top floor defense. He was the first death. So if Team 1 can allow that, or have that not happen, that'd be great, because Capitao, again, is your most instrumental operator on this site. He is very instrumental on many sites and many attacks. Of course, he's a super powerful operator, but especially here, right here, because he gets rid of the player inside a Meeting Hall. It's probably going to be Sexy Cake if Liquid decide to play anyone in Meeting Hall. And if you can get rid of that player without any fuss, using a firebolt, then it makes your life way, way easier when you're actually executing from admin office, which is the most common attack in this day and age. Though it does look like, at least for right now, Team 1 are going to be attacking from Yellow Stairs and CEO. That's what they're setting up for right now. And you can see Reduct trying to get a pick onto Sexy Cake, who's actually playing at those Yellow Stairs.
This man is under fire right now, as you can just see bullet tracers go flying past him, but nobody's been able to connect as he still sits at perfect HP through the 45 to 50 seconds of pure unbridled chaos that just ensued. If there's anybody who's capable of clutch moments and getting himself out of trouble, it's definitely Sexy Cake, as we've seen time and time again. Just the sheer effort that he's able to conjure up, seemingly out of nowhere on basically any operator. A lot of magic happens when you have a smoke in your hands the way that he can, or even Young can, etc. And this was an operator that Nesk used to run quite a bit before the flexibility came to Liquid, allowing Nesk to flex onto other roles. Despite that, and all that we said about both Nesk and Sexy Cake, it's Palu who collect kill number 1. Once again, onto the Capitao, and for some reason, both of these teams, they can help themselves but put their Capitao in harm's way early on. And when we say early, half of the round has transpired here in round number 7. And Team 1 are going to have to battle from behind.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going to happen now if you're Team 1. I'm not really sure what the strategy is for T1, to be honest with you guys, because, okay, they just lost their Capitao trying to take an admin office, and we've got someone on Yellow Stairs. That doesn't make much sense. That isn't your typical attack onto the top floor. A flank operator like a Zofia, sure, later in the round, but you're preemptively setting her here, and you are applying pressure to the skylight above Yellow Stairs early on, which kind of broadcasts your intentions. And now I don't know what the attack is trying to accomplish, because it looks like they're all set up underneath Yellow Stairs, and they're going to give away an angle to Nesk, allowing him to get a kill. There is a refrag, though, from Skadenia, so this is good. They're still in it, but Team 1 are looking really not great right now.
And Nesk was able to also light up Lukid, and Skadinia won't be able to survive a blast to the chest of that shotgun, seeing if there's another that'll push up onto Sexy Cake, but no, for the time being. Rise on Repel of Console Windows will have to move off with 30 seconds left. He's not going to have a lot of time to greet the rest of his teammates. Also put Lukid in a position where he's going to walk up spiral stairs, and because of this, there's going to be a lot of guns trained on him, and there's only 1 or 2 bullets that will be required to take out the remainder of this buck. Running out of time and running on nothing but pure adrenaline as he doesn't seem to have any information. He'll confront the dock and somehow manage to do an awful lot of damage to Palu, but it's not going to come down to much as PSK has the crossfire, and there's Moringa to find Rise. An uncoordinated team will get absolutely feasted upon on Consulate. It certainly appeared like Team 1 lacked some serious coordination on that round in particular. Liquid will once again regain the lead on their very first defense, and will move to round number 8.
Okay, so that was a very messy attack round from Team 1. Just a very, very messy. There was no clear understanding on the team of what kind of objective they were going for, what goal they were trying to accomplish. It just seemed like Team 1 were hovering, moving all over the place and losing men in the process. Team Liquid very happy to take the opportunity to mow some opponents down. Certainly a curious thing for Team 1 there. Again, I don't know what their plan was, and it's really that simple. There was no clear read on that, and it cost them. Team Liquid, I'm sure happy about that. They'll go to the middle floor as their next defense. They are... Okay, so usually when you ban an operator that is instrumental in one particular attack, in this case Thermite is instrumental when attacking the basement, it means that you have dry run, scrimmed, and practiced all in all how to attack without that operator on the particular site where he is most influential. So what that means is Team 1, by banning Thermite, are obviously well-versed in attacking the basement of Consulate without a Thermite. And that is probably why Team Liquid are not going to basement yet. Either that or it could be preference, but that might be one of their thought processes. So, oh, Moringa did it. He did it. He broke the window first. Anyway, so I'm just saying, yeah, smart on Team Liquid. Good for them to avoid the basement as long as they can. They'll probably go there for the third site, but they don't need to. They can also go to Tellers, assuming that, of course, they win here on the middle floor. If they don't, they'll have more options and go to the middle floor again.
Also have an option to... Never mind, I've lost my train of thought.
Okay.
That's okay, it happens from time to time.
Yep.
What we see from teams, and I'm sure you can back this one up, is that when a team struggles mightily on that second floor, instead of going to the garage, teams will immediately go to the main floor because it attacks very similarly, right? And if a team struggles to take control of Projector / Meeting Hall, as it's referred to as, then, well, where do you go from there as an attacking team? If you can't get over that hurdle, it's very difficult for you to be able to take control of the main lobby, even with the Capitao on the board. And once again, we cannot state the importance of Capitao on every single attack that we're going to find on Consulate.
I mean, he's instrumental in a lot of rounds and a lot of sites, but he's highly relevant everywhere, all the time. He's just a very powerful operator right now. Nesk is going to take down Skadinia, so there you go. And PSK on Liquid. Liquid are looking good yet again on defense, and Team 1 are looking disoriented, to say the least. The Reduct does take control of Piano, and that's actually huge. There's no one from Liquid in a position to deny this.
They have full control, but no, Liquid once again with a retake strategy, and it's perfect for them.
Oh, no.
They did this against G2 in Atlantic City where they completely evacuate the site, but because they have the information, they are never in a position where they are actually behind, and Liquid will now stretch this one out. And as you said, Team 1 looking very disoriented and not having everything tied together the same way. This great run from Team 1 that's happened so far is not really slowed down. They've still performed quite admirably against a very good team, but they're letting the game slip away from them one round at a time.
Yeah, it does certainly seem like, I mean, to be honest, it just, Team 1 are attacking in the most odd of ways. It doesn't seem like they have any kind of game plan, which is such a strong contrast to how their defenses were. I mean, Team 1's defenses were well set up, well established, and I have expressed, and this is true, that it is easier to set up a defense than it is to conduct an attack. That is just, I mean, it's so much simpler. You can predetermine your reinforcements, your barbed wire, your Valkyrie, you can do whatever you want when it comes to that sort of thing, and then you just say, you start here. This is your starting defense position, you go stand there. and then it's simple from there. You just play off your opponent. When it comes to attack, it's a lot more complicated to orchestrate an assault. However, the tricky thing is for Team One is that they're skipping the basics. They're going away from the more conventional attack strategies that you see commonly executed, like for example a yellow stairs take onto a CEO repel. That's your B attack on the top floor, or an admin office take, which is is how you take A, or meeting hall. These are your two common top floor attacks for Consulate. And when Team One goes onto the top floor, they don't attack like that. I'm not sure what they're trying to do at all. And it costs them because Liquid sees the opportunity for picks and they go for it and they get those picks, and then you just can't recover. This time, it's going to be a basement defense. We haven't seen this yet from Team Liquid, and it's a heavy roam basement. Let's see what Team One have to show.
Once again, their focal point is likely going to be taking the upstairs. Clearing out the second floor has been a major issue for Team One. Yeah. Even though they did have control of the site on that first floor in the previous round, the investment in that second floor wasn't necessarily needed because of the way that Liquid was playing, and I think Team One read that correctly, but they didn't expect the counterpunch that came out from Liquid.
Well, there's a little bit of control here for Team One, but Skadinia's in a difficult spot. He's going to challenge on a Palu, and he did lose the initial fight, or no, about an even exchange, but Palu's in a really tricky spot because of the balcony pressure. If he lands the C4, it would be very impressive, but not enough space to make it happen. The window's opened up, and it's a double challenge here for Palu, and he's finally figured out by Falls. Great job to Team One to allow that crossfire.
Yeah, and that was just Palu getting stuck in a very bad position. He had no way out. He could have possibly used the C4 on the hatch and dropped down, but
yeah,
he would have been worried about the Hibana watching the double windows at that point. And, well, part of your job is to not just hold that map control, but maybe take a gamble. And if you walk away with the trade, you've got both a Zofia and a Hibana there. If you take out that Hibana on a garage take, that's a very big win for Liquid.
Certainly.
Wasn't in the cards this time, as T1's rampage will continue. They find Sexy Cake, and there was no follow-up whatsoever, as Nesk is a little too far off. I don't know if Skadinia knew that there would be some pressure in there, but he's got a rotate hole, and Nesk, what a flick on the Skadinia, as it looked like it was an almost certainty that the Zofia would walk away with the free kill there, putting Team Liquid back on their heels. And while Nesk taking an awful lot of damage, he's still always lethal, even if he's only got 1 HP to his name.
So it was a very weird take of the top floor from Team One. Not a lot of droning, but they managed to win their fights, and that's all that really matters. The information was enough, and well, Nesk did get away with it, but he got away with it very, very lit up, and he will be downed. It doesn't seem like Lukid is actually aware that he is down Nesk, so at least there's that. Team Liquid might be able to get away with some... No, he's going to finish him off. There you go. Team One managed to put themselves in a very decided man advantage here, but oh, Lukid's been downed himself inside a piano. It appears he will be recovered. It was Moringa who got the down, but he will not be even looking for the secure. But only 15 seconds left. That's so little time to make this attack happen, and there's no garage open. So Moringa's going to get an easy kill onto Rise, and then retreat, waiting patiently from the side of the white van for another kill on yellow stairs. And he's just going to peek this when he needs to. No prior, or not prior. PSK will take down Falls, and there's a down inside a kitchen. I mean, a win on time, just a poor execution from Team One, and it mostly comes down to how slow they were on the roam clear earlier in the round.
I mean, but they still had 45 seconds left in the round before they could do much.
I know.
They went and they picked up Lukid. It's a 4v2 in favor of Team One, and what happens? You don't know where to go. You got the Buck upstairs, but he didn't do any work with the Skeleton Key whatsoever to try and open up and put pressure onto Moringa playing, down below. You didn't have anybody push in through the staff area in the cafeteria at all. It was just, once again, Team Liquid capitalizing off of the fact that Team One's coordination on attack has been very poor. This is a new team.
Yeah.
This is a new team in Team One. We've said this time and time again. We said this in the North American broadcast just a couple days ago. It's much more difficult to pull off a successful attack against a team that is well-rounded on defense. Defenders have an almost inherent advantage on a new map, etc. And, well, when you really look at it this way, Liquid have not had anything to slow them down. That was the closest round to defeat for Liquid, but Moringa just waited and watched the yellow stairs, and none of the hatches really appeared to be opened up. So where do you go if you're Team One? Well, you can put somebody on spiral stairs. Didn't happen. So where do you go? Over to Visa. You try to come through the cafeteria. You try to come through yellow stairs. very similar to kids' dorms on Oregon. You can watch those 2 ways in, and it's very challenging for an attacker to be able to walk away with a successful fight because those corridors and the way that those gunfights are going to occur don't really lend themselves to taking trades or draws. And that was Liquid understanding this. It's experience that Liquid has being at this level, and now Liquid have guaranteed themselves 1 point and are sitting on match point. They still have 3 more rounds to put this one away.
Yeah, Liquid often come across as one of the most polished teams out there, and they're really proving it here in this match. While Team One did give Team Liquid a little bit of run for the money on the first half, it wasn't even split technically. And when it comes to Team One's attacks, I agree with you. It's really simple. Inexperience and lack of coordination on the attacking side. Again, it's one of those things that takes a long time for a team to build up that coordination on attack. This time, it looks like Team One are going to be going for a dedicated admin office take. So this is good. This is good. A lot of focus here from Team One. However, it's taken them a while to actually get control of admin. And it looks like Team Liquid are trying to contest this position of Soda, which is a really nice hold. It's definitely not an easy one to pull off, but when you've got the Jaeger's Carbine up close and personal, and you've got players challenging from the top of Visa stairs, it's definitely possible. And Liquid have been winning a lot of their fights, so you can expect this to go. I mean, it's going to violently swing one of 2 ways. That's really all it comes down to. So it's a risk from Team Liquid, but a potentially great payout, especially on match point. They're feeling confident.
It's a follow-up here and a great connection as there you go. Some utility expended, both of the concussive blasts from Skadinia as well as the frag grenade getting tossed out, and a Jaeger is now off of the board. And more importantly, it's PSK who is trying to hunker down and hold any possible path out for the attackers through the copy room over towards the Visa door. You still got Nesk lurking down below, and he's always going to be an X factor, depending on the way that he's played. Palu as well over by the bathroom door. He's going to be in a position to possibly take out any X-Kairos, but it doesn't appear that that'll be the case. Likely those X-Kairos are going on the wall that lead to the top of Visa stairs. Drones abound inside of Meeting Hall, and it appears that, for the time being, the information does favor Team One. But now you've got Moringa once again in a position with this ACOG to be able to possibly capitalize off of it. Toxic Canister goes through just to try and deter any attacker from pushing on in and funnel them through a different direction, maybe into the hands of Palu. He's got an ACOG and he'll be able to play around that banister. Just waiting very patiently with only 30 seconds left. Liquid are just holding off for the time being. Sexy Cake has managed to work his way upstairs, but down goes Nesk. That was the Valkyrie that was lurking, laying in wait. Moringa mowed them down last time. He was instrumental. Frag grenade gets tossed out. Sexy Cake overhealed, a 3v5 right now favoring Team One. And Moringa in an awful lot of trouble. These asphyxiating bullets will continue to spread. Luka takes out Palu, and we're getting dangerously close to a flawless round. It'll continue on that direction as Skadinia takes out Sexy Cake. Moringa punishes one, but he's pushing up, looking the wrong direction. He's got his back turned to Lukid, and it's the Buck with a big play. That'll be the first round that Team One are able to take on attack, and it comes at a very good time as they sit facing Liquid on match point for the next 2 rounds. Console upstairs, going in favor of Liquid the first time, but not that time.
All right, so good execution there from Team One, and the big thing, the first time we've seen the Capital actually be relevant on a top floor attack in his most relevant site overall. So good job to Team One retaining their Capital. There's not much else to say. Also, they had really good use of those grenades and Zofia Guzmats when clearing out the soda machine. So again, good execution from Team One. Yes, so the round overall, you couldn't count Team Liquid out until the Capital smoke bolts cut off the visual in connector. That was the moment right there when Team Liquid lost the round. Yeah, they were losing a lot of players. They were Team One were getting a lot of picks, but as long as Moringa was alive and able to hold the top of Visa stairs as the Maestro, I think Team Liquid could have won that. And as soon as the bolts came in, that was the moment of truth there for Team One, and that's where they managed to secure the round overall, I think. So good job to them. Again, just retaining their Capital. Props. Now they're going to have to defend the middle floor. See if they can make that happen. Liquid have successfully defended the middle floor already once before.
It's a big motivator for Team One being able to take their very first attacking round, especially when the odds don't favor them and the pressure tends to be the hardest. It was really Lukin and Skadinia showing up very big in that round, and they have shown up big all match so far. They're going to need to do that 2 more times. really impressive, though, was I think that was the most confident that Team One have looked at being able to drone out the members of Liquid. They found Nesk early on, and they seemed to have him isolated as he wasn't able to make it back to site, and when he tried to, he died. And then additionally, the coordination to be able to take out PSK2. I liked what I saw from them.
Yeah, Team One shows a lot of promise, that's for sure. I do think, though, that in the long run, they're certainly going to need to work on their attacks. And the big thing I could scream if they could hear me is that they need to focus on just working out some very basic attack strategies. Because like what they're doing right now, for example, they're taking into Visa, but I don't believe they've taken admin office. It doesn't seem like they have, and it's a middle floor defense. So, you know, usually when you're attacking on the middle floor, you want to execute the same way you would attack onto the top floor, just then also take into the middle floor using your vertical pressure. But it's a slow attempt to try that. I'm not sure what the... Team One are all over the place. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Oh, what a shot from Sexy Cake, but it actually doesn't do any damage. A bit deceptive there, as it looked like it was able to secure the down. Sexy Cake is in a very big trouble right now with the number of Team One circling him and asphyxiating bolt going out. Reduct will continue to live, but Sexy Cake has the drop open and he'll fall down. Palu came into his rescue, but he'll end up being a casualty, and Team One will start things off well. Start things off again because it's been halfway through the round. Ness just watching the doorway quite intently. He's going to see one and a very easy kill on Escadini as they line up completely, but he'll lose his ally Moringa in the process. As Rise finds it, and Team One are in a great position right now to continue to keep this ball rolling. They have seemingly found this energy that is allowing them to come back against Liquid, despite the fact that it was a very lopsided defense in favor of Liquid to start.
And Ness playing at the top of yellow. He's trying to linger here so he can deny the plant late if possible. Sexy Cakes is going to be coming up the bottom spiral staircase, and it doesn't seem like he's been spotted out here, but those footsteps might have been heard. He does call out the player he can hear right above him, and here comes the attempted plant. It's a retake from Ness, but he doesn't see his opponent at the top of Visa. Here's some shots, but doesn't adjust his angle. That's weird. Luke get a free kill there. Sexy K coming up Visa, and that's why Ness didn't adjust his angle. There's going to be a trade there from Sexy as he's got vertical control, but it's in a post plant now, and that's really tricky. And he's going to get shot from downstairs. Through the drop, Falls gets the final kill, and Team One managed to make that execution happen. I mean, it was a weird attack from Team One. They took into Visa before clearing out admin office. There was an opportunity for Liquid to punish them for that, but the punish didn't come out. And then when Team One was able to set up for the execution onto meeting, they made it happen. They made it work.
Overall, very impressed with what we saw there from Team One. Even though it was a bit sloppy, it seemed, and even though it did seem a bit disjointed, they still put it together. And I think a couple parts also rest on the shoulders of Liquid for being, would I say, maybe a bit too aggressive.
That's the thing. I think that all of it rests on Team Liquid because they had a lot of opportunities to punish Team One based on how Team One executed in that last round. Because again, the basic covers for your aggression on the side of Team One were not in place. Like, we're pushing up Visa stairs, but we don't have full control of admin or admin office. That means that, yeah, Liquid can punish you that whole while, but they're playing passive. They're playing safe. Why? They're on match point. They just want to lock it out. They don't want to take unnecessary risks and, you know, cost themselves the match. However, that is inevitably what cost them, though. They don't know that. They don't have all the information like we do. So, yes, it all rests on Team Liquid, I think, for that last round. But here we are in the final round of the match. It's 6-5. It's been a close one. And Team One, the most substantial takeaway, I think, for this whole match is that Team One are clearly a team to be taken seriously in Latin American Pro League, and that's good. That's always good for new teams coming into Pro League. To see that, you just love it because it's exciting. You know, it's like, ooh, we got some new names to get excited about when we watch Pro League.
I like the way you say that. Spoken as somebody who is just a general fan of it, and I have been very impressed with Team One and what we've seen from them over a couple games now, and I think that this match isn't any exception. More that Liquid looked kind of hesitant on their attack. They looked very poised on their defense. They got a bit too aggressive, maybe too ahead of themselves, and teams do tend to do this when they think that there's an opportunity to put the match away. I mean, you can't really call Consulate one-sided or not, right? You said this was a fairly balanced map heading into it, and right now the stats show that exactly. You know, if Team One are capable of pulling this attack off, then it'll be a perfect 6-6 for both the attackers and the defenders.
You know, it's curious about the Liquid aggression on defense of the last round, because you're right, they were being very aggressive, but it was that they're just so poorly timed, I think, was the issue.
Yeah.
They were trying to be aggressive on the wrong angles at the wrong moments.
It was also the fact that Team One were pushing at the right times, though, too.
Yeah. Timing was a big factor.
I find it interesting that we won't see another garage defense. It's going to be console office again, and there's been no opening picks against Team One from Liquid, and that's been a big reason why I don't think Liquid has been able to kind of steamroll their way through this round, is that Team One have continuously gotten the very first opening kill and then have kept that ball rolling. They're looking to do the same thing again as they take control of Yellow Stairs, with Lukid working his way up. He's on a collision course with Sexy Cake at the very top of Yellow. Barbed Wire will give his position away, and there goes the very first remote gas canister. It comes at 90 seconds in through the round. One ADS charge will go down in the second too, and knowing that Sexy Cake is playing up there with the ADS burn, unless there's a second, this is a chance for the frag grenade to catch, and it'll land exactly where Paulu was playing before. Oh, what a shot from Lukid, who's waiting for the smoke to peek out. And talk about a test of reflexes. Team One will once again get the opening frag, but seconds later, Nesk will find Raduk down below. The Capitao solo entering through lobby, and that's utility gone from Team One's lineup.
Again, though, this attack from Team One is so weird. They're attacking in a way that you just don't see. It's a CEO take, yes. It's a Yellow Stairs take, yes. But they're not really applying much pressure to Yellow Stairs. They lost their Capitao, who could have done just that, and now they're going to lose Kadinya, who's on repel of the CEO window. Moringa's going to add to that, eliminating Lukid by Bathroom, and Team Liquid look in full control here with only 30 seconds left.
And Falls will be able to try to put this one closer together, but his team will still lag behind as now Falls finds Moringa, but wins the fight. It's back to a 2v2. Liquid was in a 4v2 position. They'll find themselves back up to the very final body, once again being Falls. And Liquid, despite getting so close to a draw in Team One, seemingly finding new motivation and new energy, they're not able to battle against the veterans in Team Liquid. That's a big victory for Liquid, despite how close it came, and a very good showing for Team One, a team that is still new to Pro League, and they're finding their way. Team Liquid in 2-7-5 matches, one on the receiving end of a loss and then a victory here for them.